Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Dobro jutro, bratje in sestre.
It's a great privilege as well as an honor to be with you on this Sabbath morning.
Zame je velika prednost, kot tudi čast biti danes zjutraj z vami.
A little earlier this week, I thought that I might not be with you.
Nekaj dni nazaj sem mislil, da morda ne bom z vami.
Because in England we saw on the news the terrible weather that you've been having in Slovenia.
Kajti v Angliji smo pri poročilih videli to grozljivo vreme, ki ste ga imeli v Sloveniji.
And I even emailed Pastor Godner to ask whether it would be, safe for me to come.
In prišlo je tudi vprašanje, ali bo varno sploh, da pridem.
And not only that, but in England we have been having rain.
In ne to, le to, v Angliji smo imeli veliko dežja.
Now, there's nothing unusual about rain in England.
Nič nenavadnega, nič v Angliji dežuje.
But it's been raining for weeks and weeks.
Nenavadno je to, da je tedne in tedne deževalo.
And we've had floods everywhere.
In povsod smo imeli poplave.
And so I thought that perhaps rather than flying by plane, I would have to come by boat in order to get to Slovenia.
Zato sem mislil, mogoče namesto letenja potreboval ladjo, da pridem do Slovenije.
But we're all here this morning
Ampak danes zjutraj smo vsi tukaj,
in God's church,
v Božji cerkvi,
and together we're going to open God's Word.
in skupaj bomo odprli Božjo besedo.
Now, I'll be with you during the day,
Jaz bom z vami skozi ves ta dan,
and so I'll ensure that we have time before the end of the day for you to ask questions and for me to give you some answers.
in zagotavljam vam tudi, da bomo še pred koncem dneva imeli dovolj časa, da vi postavite vprašanje in da jaz dam kakšen odgovor.
Now, we might not have time for the questions this morning, but I'll make sure we make time for them before the end of the day.
Mogoče jih ne bomo imeli tega časa za vprašanje sedaj zjutraj, ampak poskrbel bom, da bo to pred koncem dneva vsekakor.
So, the general topic that we're going to be delving into together today
Splošna tema, v katero se bomo danes poglobili,
is the whole matter of understanding and applying the Word of God.
je vprašanje razumevanja in uporabe Božje besede.
A little more narrowly than that,
Če to malo zožimo,
I was asked to talk about understanding and applying the Old Testament.
bil sem povabljen govoriti o razumevanju in uporabi Stare zaveze,
But then the Old Testament is rather large.
ampak Stara zaveza je tudi velik del besedila.
So what we'll be doing is looking at the first 3 chapters of the Bible
To, kar bomo naredili danes, je, da si bomo ogledali prva 3 poglavja Svetega pisma
and asking, first of all, how we might understand it,
in se najprej spraševali, kako lahko to razumemo,
and then how we might apply it.
in potem, kako uporabiti to.
And those are 2 very important steps.
In to sta 2 zelo pomembna koraka.
First of all, we must do all we can to understand the Bible.
Ker najprej moramo narediti vse, kar lahko, da bi Sveto pismo razumeli.
And the reason for that is quite simple.
Razlog za to je zelo preprost.
If we misunderstand the Bible,
Če Sveto pismo napačno razumemo,
then we will misapply the Bible.
potem ga bomo tudi napačno uporabili.
We can only apply properly what we have first understood.
Na pravi način lahko uporabimo samo tisto, kar smo najprej razumeli.
And the first 3 chapters of the Bible are, of course, very well known to all Adventists.
In prva 3 poglavja v Svetem pismu so seveda vsem adventistom zelo dobro znana.
In fact, to most Christians.
Verjetno vsem kristjanom.
Now, normally, as Adventists, when we come to these opening chapters of the Bible,
Običajno, ko kot adventisti pridemo do teh prvih poglavij Svetega pisma,
our main interest is often in the scientific or the historical aspects of the text.
našo glavno pozornost običajno pritegne znanstveni ali pa zgodovinski vidik besedila.
Now, of course, those are important,
Seveda, ta 2 sta pomembna.
but the book of Genesis, I would suggest, is primarily a spiritual book.
Ampak to, kar želim poudariti, je, da je prva Mojzesova knjiga v bistvu v glavnem duhovna knjiga.
And so, what I hope we will look at together today
In to, kar upam, da bomo danes uspeli videti,
are matters of first importance.
so stvari, ki so najpomembnejše.
And we'll be looking at how we might best understand these opening chapters.
No, gledali si bomo, kako lahko na najboljši možni način razumemo ta začetna poglavja.
And so let me just set out now then what the general aim of this particular Bible study we're going to have.
Zato bi rad poudaril, kaj je naš splošni namen tega proučevanja Svetega pisma.
First of all, I'd like us to understand what Genesis meant to ancient readers.
Najprej si želim, da bi razumeli, kaj je prva Mojzesova knjiga pomenila za prve bralce.
How would the people who first read or heard this book, how would they have understood it?
Kako so ljudje, ki so prvi slišali besedilo te knjige, tega razumeli?
And then the second point, having understood that a little better,
In druga točka, ko bomo to razumeli malo bolje,
is to apply that message to modern readers, that is to ourselves.
je uporabiti to sporočilo sodobnim bralcem, torej nam.
That is what it meant for those first readers and now what it means for us.
Torej, kaj je pomenilo za prve bralce in kaj pomeni za nas.
So we're going to start then by looking at Genesis chapter 1.
Začeli bomo s tem, da bomo odprli prvo Mojzesovo knjigo, prvo poglavje.
And rather than first of all diving into all the details and just working our way through,
In namesto, da bi se takoj zatopili v vse podrobnosti in se poskušali prebiti skozi njih,
I'd like us to stand back a little bit from this first chapter
bi rad, da naredimo korak nazaj od tega prvega poglavja
and see how this chapter is put together, first of all.
in si najprej ogledamo, kako je to poglavje sestavljeno.
Now, the book of Genesis originally, of course, was written in the Hebrew language.
Prva Mojzesova knjiga, seveda v izvirnem jeziku, bila zapisana v hebrejščini.
And when the Hebrews were writing, they wrote in particular
In
ways.
ko so Hebrejci pisali, so pisali na prav poseben način.
And one of the things that they really liked to have in their Hebrew literature
Ena od stvari, ki so jih zelo radi imeli v hebrejski literaturi,
was a structure to what they wrote.
je bila struktura tega, kar so pisali.
They liked to use things like balances and repetitions throughout their writing.
Radi so uporabljali uravnoteženja in ponavljanja skozi besedilo.
And that's our first step then in trying to understand Genesis 1,
In to je naš prvi korak, ko poskušamo razumeti prvo Mojzesovo 1.
is first of all to understand how it was put together.
Najprej, da razumemo, kako je sestavljeno to poglavje.
Now, the reason I want us to look at how Genesis chapter 1 is put together
Zakaj si želim, da pogledamo na sestavo prvega poglavja?
is because I think the very way in which it is put together has spiritual significance.
Zato, ker sem prepričan, da sama sestava nosi duhovni pomen.
So if we ask this simple question then, how is Genesis 1 put together?
Če se torej vprašamo, kako je prvo poglavje prve Mojzesove knjige sestavljeno,
Then we end up with this kind of pattern which you see behind you.
potem pridemo do tega vzorca, ki ga vidite tukaj pred sabo.
Now, let me just explain this a little bit.
Rad bi to malo pojasnil.
You see that at the beginning here, in the first two verses,
V prvih dveh vrsticah na začetku
we are told that the earth was without form and void.
nam je rečeno, da je zemlja bila brez oblike in da je bila prazna.
Now, that is an attempt to translate two Hebrew words.
To je poskus, da se prevedeta dve hebrejski besedi.
Now, of course, this morning you are hearing this in the Slovene language
Danes zjutraj vi slišite te besede v slovenščini
and the English language,
in angleščini.
and we have a third language.
In imamo še tretji jezik.
I would like to teach you a little bit of Hebrew.
Rad bi vas naučil malo hebrejščine.
And what the Hebrew says is this,
In kar hebrejščina pravi je to,
that the earth was tohu and bohu.
da je zemlja bila tohu in bohu.
So I would like you to say that for me. Could you?
Rad bi, da to poveste za mene, lahko?
The earth was tohu and bohu. Excellent.
Čudovito.
Yeah. And we really don't need to translate those words.
In teh besed pravzaprav ne rabimo prevajati.
What was the earth like?
Kakšna je bila zemlja?
Tohu and bohu. That's what it was like.
Tako je izgledalo.
It's the Hebrew way of saying it was in chaos.
To je hebrejski način, da se pove, da je bila v kaosu.
God has not yet made many things.
Bog še ni naredil veliko stvari.
He hasn't organized and separated things.
Ni še organiziral in ločil stvari med sabo.
It's all tohu and bohu.
Vse je tohu in bohu.
That's how the account begins.
Tako se začne poročilo.
Now, let's have a look at these first 6 days of creation.
Poglejmo si prvih 6 dni stvarjenja.
Normally, when we read Genesis chapter 1, we begin at day 1.
Običajno, ko beremo prvo Mojzesovo, začnemo pri dnevu 1, prvem dnevu.
And we keep on going, day 2, day 3, until we get to the end.
Gremo skozi dan 2, 3, 4, dokler ne pridemo do konca.
But instead of reading it from the beginning, just straight in a straight line to the end,
Toda namesto, da bi brali od začetka vse do konca,
you notice how these first 6 days are arranged in 2 columns.
lahko vidimo, kako je teh 6 dni urejeno v 2 kolonah.
And the reason for that is that each of these days balance one another.
In razlog za to je, da je vsak od teh dni ravnoteža in protiutež drugemu.
So, on the first day, we have day and night.
Prvi dan imamo dan in noč,
And then on the fourth day, we have the sun, the moon, and the moon and stars.
in četrti dan imamo sonce in mesec in zvezde.
And of course, the sun rules the day,
Sonce vlada dnevu
and the moon and the stars rule the night.
in mesec in zvezde vladajo noči.
The fish live in the sea,
Ribe živijo v morju,
the birds fly in the sky,
ptice letijo po zraku,
the land animals live on the land,
kopenske živali živijo na kopnem,
and both land animals and humans, both of them, live on the land and are sustained. They eat vegetation.
in tako ljudje kot živali živijo na zemlji in uživajo vegetacijo, ki je na njej.
So we have this exact horizontal balance between the first 3 days and the next 3 days.
Imamo torej vodoravno ravnotežo med prvimi 3 dnevi in drugimi 3 dnevi.
But of course, by the time we get to the end of the 6th day, we haven't got to the end yet.
Ampak, ko pridemo do konca 6. dne, še nismo na koncu.
You wouldn't expect me to come to an Adventist church and forget the 7th day.
Verjetno ne bi pričakovali, da pridem v adventistično cerkev in pozabim na 7. dan.
So let's look at this 7th day.
Poglejmo si torej 7. dan.
We've seen already how we have this balance horizontally.
Vidimo, kako imamo to vodoravno ravnotežo,
But you notice that there is an overarching vertical balance in this.
ampak
account.
vidimo tudi vertikalno ravnotežo.
We began with chaos. We began with tohu and bohu.
Začeli smo s kaosom, s tohu in bohu
And we end with rest. Shabbat, Sabbath rest.
in končali s počitkom, soboto, šabat.
We move from chaos to rest.
Iz kaosa v počitek.
And so this balance from the beginning to the end tells us something important.
In ta ravnoteža med začetkom in koncem nam pove nekaj pomembnega.
And this important matter is this.
Pomembna stvar pa je naslednja.
And that is that human beings, ourselves as human beings, we are not the climax of creation.
In to je, da mi, ljudje, nismo vrhunec stvarjenja.
Now, we might be the climax of God's physical creation.
Mi smo lahko vrhunec Božjega fizičnega stvarjenja.
Here we are, here on the 6th day.
Tu smo v 6. dnevu.
But the aim, the goal of creation,
Ampak cilj stvarjenja,
its climax and its crowning point
vrhunec, tista glavna točka,
is the Sabbath.
je sobota.
Now, I know that now that I've said that,
Vem,
there are some of you here who will disagree with me.
vem, da se mogoče kdo ne bi strinjal z mano, ko to pravim.
And how do I know that?
Kako to vem?
Well, I have given presentations on Genesis before many groups,
Pred številnimi ljudmi sem že predaval o prvi Mojzesovi knjigi.
before Catholics,
Pred katoličani,
Protestants,
protestanti,
agnostics,
agnostiki
and atheists.
in ateisti.
And all of them
In vsi,
can all see
vsi lahko vidijo,
that in this first chapter, the Sabbath is the climax of creation.
je, da je v tem prvem poglavju sobota vrhunec stvaritve.
The only people who have ever disagreed with me
Edini, ki se z mano niso strinjali v tem,
are Adventists.
so adventisti.
Now, some of you may want to disagree, and we'll have questions at the end of the day.
Mogoče se kdo med vami ne strinja, na koncu dneva bomo imeli vprašanja.
But there's a very important reason why the Sabbath is the climax of creation, and I'll underline that as we go through this
Ampak
first chapter.
obstaja zelo pomemben razlog, zakaj je sobota vrhunec stvarjenja in tega bom poudaril skozi to naše predavanje.
Now, what we've been looking at here
To, kar smo sedaj gledali tukaj,
is what is different about each day.
je razlika med dnevi.
But now let's ask a different question,
Zdaj pa si postavimo drugačno vprašanje.
and that is, what is the same about each day?
Kaj je enako v vsakem dnevu?
Now, you remember I said that in Hebrew, in the Old Testament, they loved to have repetitions in what they wrote.
Kot sem že poudaril, videli smo, da v starozaveznem besedilu imajo radi ponavljanja.
And the reason for that is that they use it in order to underline what is really and truly important.
Razlog za to uporabo pa je v tem, da želijo s tem poudariti, kaj je res pomembno.
So let's have a look at what we read on the first day.
Poglejmo si torej, kaj beremo o prvem dnevu.
Could you just read that?
Ja. Bog je rekel, bodi svetloba, in nastala je svetloba. Bog je videl, da je svetloba dobra, in Bog je ločil svetlobo od teme. In Bog je svetlobo imenoval dan, temo pa je imenoval noč. In bil je večer in bilo je jutro, prvi dan.
So there we have the first day,
Imamo torej prvi dan
and I just want to have a look at certain elements on that first day.
in rad bi, da si ogledamo nekaj elementov iz tega prvega dne.
So the first thing we read
Prva stvar, o kateri beremo,
is what I would call an announcement. And God said.
bi jaz imenoval napoved. In Bog je rekel.
Then we also have, that's followed with a command.
Potem imamo nekaj, kar je v obliki ukaza.
Let there be light. In this
Naj
case.
bo ali bodi svetloba.
And then we get a report.
Potem dobimo poročilo in bilo je.
And it was so, and there was light.
In bila je svetloba, zgodilo se je.
And then we get an evaluation.
Potem je ocena.
What kind of light was it?
Kakšna svetloba je bila to?
It's good light.
Dobra svetloba.
God saw that it was good.
Bog je videl, da je dobra.
And then finally, we have a time framework.
In na koncu imamo še časovni okvir.
There was evening and there was morning, the first day.
Bil je večer in bilo je jutro, prvi dan.
Now, those are 5 elements we have on the first day.
To je 5 elementov, ki jih najdemo v prvem dnevu.
I know there are 1 or 2 other things there,
Vem, da je še nekaj stvari zapisanih v tem besedilu.
but what I'm interested in is what turns up on every day of creation.
Ampak tisto, kar nas zanima zdaj, je, kaj se pojavi v vsakem dnevu stvarjenja.
So, briefly, let's just look at the second day of creation.
Čisto na kratko si oglejmo drugi dan stvarjenja.
This begins in verse 6,
Začne se v 6. vrsti.
and you see how it starts. It says, and God said,
In kako se začne? Bog je rekel.
there's the announcement.
Imamo napoved.
It says, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters.
Bodi obok sredi voda.
There's the command.
Imamo zapoved, ukaz.
And then in verse 7, it says, so God made the firmament.
In 7. vrstica pravi, in Bog je naredil obok.
So there's the report. It actually happened.
Imamo poročilo, da se je to res zgodilo.
Now, interestingly,
Zanimivo,
on this day,
v tem dnevu
it doesn't give an evaluation.
nimamo ocene.
It doesn't say that it was good, does it?
Ne piše, da je bilo dobro, ali ne?
Can you see that in your text? It doesn't say that it was good.
Vidite to v svojem besedilu, a ne piše, da je bilo dobro.
This is the only day where it doesn't say that it was good.
To je edini dan, za katerega ne beremo, da je bilo dobro.
You might want to ask me why that is so
Morda se boste vprašali, zakaj je temu tako.
later on.
Kasneje.
However,
Toda,
this is the second day.
to je drugi dan.
This is the second day of the week.
Drugi dan tedna.
And what is the second day of the week?
In kaj je drugi dan tedna?
Monday.
Ponedeljek.
So you see, even for God, Monday is not a good day.
Torej vidite, tudi za Boga ponedeljek ni dober dan.
and there was evening, and there was morning, a second day.
In bil je večer in bilo je jutro drugi dan.
Now, just to cut this down in time,
Da vse skupaj povemo v določenem času.
when you come to the third day,
Ko pridete do tretjega dne,
the third day goes through these first 4 steps. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4,
boste videli, da gre skozi prve 4 korake
and then it goes back to the beginning.
in potem gre nazaj na začetek.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Spet 1, 2, 3, 4
and then it tells us there was evening and morning a third day.
in potem nam pove, in bil je večer in bilo je jutro tretji dan.
The fourth day,
Četrti dan
it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
gre 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The fifth day,
Peti dan
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The sixth day,
Šesti dan
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Then back to the beginning,
Spet na začetek
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And then there was evening, there was morning, a sixth day.
In potem večer, jutro, šesti dan.
Remember those 2 columns that
Se
we had?
spomnite še tistih 2 kolon, ki smo jih imeli?
The end of the first column was the third day.
Na koncu prve kolone je tretji dan
This pattern is there twice.
in dvakrat imamo ta vzorec.
The end of the sixth day,
Na koncu šestega dne,
the end of that next column.
na koncu naslednje kolone,
This pattern is there twice.
se spet ponovi isti vzorec dvakrat. In znova ravnoteža v besedilu.
So by the time you get to the end of the sixth day, you know what's coming next.
Ko pridete do konca šestega dne, veste, kaj zdaj sledi.
And God said,
In Bog je rekel,
let there be.
naj bo.
And it was so.
In bilo je.
God saw that it was good.
Bog je videl, da je dobro,
And there was evening and there was morning.
bil je večer in bilo je jutro.
But of course, we've only got as far as the sixth day.
Ampak zdaj smo prišli le do šestega dne.
So if you turn to the beginning of Genesis chapter 2,
Če gremo na začetek drugega poglavja prve Mojzesove knjige,
and in verses 1 to the first part of verse 4, we have the seventh day.
in v vrsticah od 1 do začetka četrte vrste imamo sedmi dan.
So by the time we get here, we know what's coming next.
Torej, ko pridemo do sem, vemo, kaj sledi.
It's going to say,
Pisalo bo
and God said,
in Bog je rekel,
except
razen
it doesn't.
ne piše tako.
And then it's going to say, let there be.
In potem bo Bog rekel, naj bo,
Let there be the Sabbath.
naj bo sobota.
But it doesn't.
Ampak ne piše tako.
And surely it's going to say, and it was so.
In zagotovo bo pisalo, in bilo je tako.
But it doesn't.
Ampak ne piše.
Now, surely on the seventh holy day, it's going to say, God saw that it was good.
Na sedmi sveti dan bo Bog zagotovo rekel, in Bog je videl, da je dobro.
But it doesn't.
Ampak ne piše.
Well, at least it's going to say, there was evening and there was morning, a seventh day.
No, vsaj pisalo bo, in bil je večer in bilo je jutro sedmi dan.
But it doesn't.
Ampak ne piše.
The seventh day breaks the pattern.
Sedmi dan prelomi ta vzorec.
And that's the way the Hebrews do it.
In tako to počnejo Hebrejci.
That's the way Hebrew literature does it.
Tako hebrejska literatura deluje.
Does what?
Deluje kako?
It's how it underlines what is of greatest importance.
Tako poudarja tisto, kar je najbolj pomembno.
The element that breaks the pattern.
Element, ki prekine vzorec.
The element which makes you stop and say, hey, hang on a minute, I didn't expect that.
Element, zaradi katerega se ustavite in rečete, čakaj malo, tega nisem pričakoval.
The Sabbath is different from all other days.
Sobota je drugačna od vseh ostalih dni.
And what does God do on the seventh day?
In kaj Bog dela sedmi dan?
Well, he rests, of course,
Počiva, vsekakor, ja.
and then he makes this seventh day holy.
In potem posveti ta sedmi dan.
Right? He sanctified it, makes it holy.
Naredi ga za svetega.
And what is the basic meaning of the word holy?
Kaj je osnovni pomen besede svet?
The basic meaning of the word holy?
Osnovni pomen besede svet. Separated, ja.
That's right, yes. Separated, set apart.
Ločen, postavljen na stran.
And that's precisely what Genesis 1 does with the Sabbath.
In to je tisto, kar prva Mojzesova 1 naredi s soboto.
It separates it and sets it apart.
Loči jo in postavi na stran.
It doesn't conform to this pattern at all.
Ne sledi temu vzorcu.
And remember with those first two columns we had?
In spomnite se tistih prvih dveh kolon, ki smo jih imeli?
The seventh day stands by itself here.
7. dan stoji posebej, spodaj.
It doesn't relate to any of the other 6 days.
Ni povezan z ostalimi 6 dni.
Because it's holy, it's set apart.
Ker je svet, ker je ločen.
It is the goal of creation.
To je cilj stvarjenja.
So, what might we learn from just looking at the structure then?
To, kar se lahko naučimo iz strukture prvega poglavja,
Some of the implications are, first of all, that God is a God of order.
nekatere posledice. Torej, Bog je Bog reda.
There is a balanced organization about everything that God does.
V vsem, kar Bog dela, je uravnotežena organiziranost.
There's something else as well, that God brings order out of chaos.
Drugo, kar je, Bog iz kaosa dela red.
You remember the tohu and bohu that we started with,
Spomnite se tohu in bohu, s čimer smo začeli,
and then we have a perfectly balanced and ordered creation.
in potem popolnoma uravnoteženo in urejeno stvarjenje.
Now here in Genesis 1 we are talking about God bringing physical order out of physical chaos.
In v prvi Mojzesovi 1 govorimo o Bogu, ki prinaša fizični, konkretni red iz konkretnega nereda.
And this introduces a very important theme in the book of Genesis,
In to uvaja zelo pomembno temo v prvi Mojzesovi knjigi.
because there's something else that Genesis is really interested in.
Ker prva Mojzesova se zanima še za nekaj.
And that is more than simply physical order and physical chaos,
In to je več kot samo fizični red in fizični kaos,
but how will God bring moral and spiritual order out of moral and spiritual chaos?
tisto, kar je pomembno vprašanje, kako bo Bog iz moralnega kaosa ustvaril moralni red.
Because as you know, before too long we have moral and spiritual chaos in the world.
Ker, kot veste, kmalu naletimo na moralni in duhovni kaos v svetu.
And then another implication, which I've already mentioned,
Še ena od posledic, ki sem jo že omenil,
is that human beings are not the climax of creation.
ljudje niso vrhunec stvarjenja.
Now, we will see in a little while that we are important,
Videli bomo, da mi smo pomembni,
but not the most important
ampak
thing.
ne najpomembnejši.
Because as we see, the holy time is the climax of creation.
Ker, kot vidimo, je sveti čas vrhunec stvarjenja.
Now, why should holy time be the goal and the climax of creation?
Zakaj bi sveti čas bil cilj in vrhunec stvarjenja?
The reason this seems a little strange to us
Razlog se nam morda zdi malce čuden,
is that often when we think of creation,
ker pogosto, ko razmišljamo o stvarjenju,
we are thinking of the physical world in which we live.
razmišljamo o tem telesnem, fizičnem svetu, v katerem živimo.
But Genesis is quite clear that creation isn't limited to just bringing physical objects into existence.
Ampak prva Mojzesova je jasna, ko gre za to, da ni poudarek samo v tem, da nastanejo in se pojavijo fizični, telesni objekti.
Now, obviously, it includes that.
Seveda, to je vključeno.
But the reason why I believe it finishes with holy time
Ampak to, zaradi česar se konča svetim časom, je po mojem mnenju,
is to underline the fact that if any view of creation, any view of the world which eliminates spirituality and holiness is inadequate.
želja poudariti, da katerikoli pogled na svet, ki odstranja duhovnost in ta sveti čas, ni zadosten, ni primeren.
That creation is ultimately a holy and a spiritual act of God.
Ker stvarstvo in stvarjenje je Božje sveto dejanje in duhovno dejanje.
So, those are just some initial observations we can make.
To je samo nekaj začetnih opazk, ki jih lahko damo.
just looking at the broad picture of how Genesis 1 is put together.
Ko si ogledamo to široko sliko, kako je prva Mojzesova prvo poglavje sestavljeno.
And we understand that a little bit better, I think,
In to malo bolje razumemo,
by trying to understand the original hearers of that account.
če poskušamo razumeti prve bralce tega besedila.
Because the book of Genesis was not first written in Slovenia,
Ker prvo Mojzesovo niso najprej napisali v Sloveniji,
nor in England, where I come from.
niti v Angliji, odkoder jaz prihajam.
It was written in Hebrew in an ancient time, and we need to understand how they went about writing those kinds of things.
Zapisana je bila v hebrejščini pred davnimi časi in zato moramo razumeti, kako so jo bralci, ki so jo takrat brali, razumeli.
Now let's look at some of the details in this chapter.
Poglejmo si nekaj podrobnosti v tem poglavju.
We can't deal with all of them, obviously,
Seveda jasno je, da se ne moremo ukvarjati z vsemi.
but we look at what I think are some of the most important.
Ampak ogledali si jih bomo nekaj, ki so po mojem mnenju najpomembnejši.
Ancient Israel was, of course, surrounded by other countries, other ancient civilizations.
Stari Izrael je bil obdan z drugimi starimi civilizacijami.
And I think we can get a good insight into the deep meaning of Genesis
In mislim, da lahko dober vpogled v globok pomen prve Mojzesove knjige dobimo,
by asking how Genesis relates to what the general view of the time concerning creation was.
če se vprašamo, kako je prva Mojzesova knjiga povezana s tistimi drugimi poročili o stvarjenju, oziroma kako druge razlage govorijo o tem.
And if we do that, I think that we can be able to see more of the spiritual value of Genesis for us.
In če bomo to naredili, verjamem, da bomo videli več te duhovne vrednosti prve Mojzesove knjige za nas.
Now, just before we start looking at the first detail,
Tik preden si ogledamo ta prvi detalj,
let me say this.
naj rečem to.
In the ancient world,
V starem svetu
creation was an important topic,
je stvarjenje bila pomembna tema,
but it was never seen as a topic just isolated all by itself.
toda nikoli se na to temo ni gledalo kot nekaj, kar stoji samo za sebe, ločeno od vsega.
People didn't really sit down and say, let's discuss creation.
Ljudje se niso usedli in rekli, dajmo se pogovarjati zdaj o stvarjenju.
What creation was a means for exploring the most important things about life.
Stvarjenje je bilo sredstvo, način za raziskovanje najpomembnejših stvari v njihovem življenju.
So when these ancient people talked about creation,
Ko so ti starodavni narodi govorili o stvarjenju,
they weren't so much concerned with the how of creation
jih ni toliko zanimalo vprašanje, kako v povezavi s stvarjenjem,
or the what of creation.
ali pa kaj glede stvarjenja.
They were more concerned with the so what of creation.
Zanimalo jih je, in kaj potem sledi stvarjenje.
So they considered creation in order to answer these kinds of questions.
Zato so proučevali stvarjenje, zato da bi odgovorili na naslednje vprašanje.
Who am I?
Kdo sem jaz?
Why am I here?
Zakaj sem tukaj?
Where am I going?
Kam grem?
What is the meaning of life?
Kakšen je smisel življenja?
Those were the real questions they were concerned with when they spoke about creation.
To so bila resnična vprašanja, ki so jih zanimala, ko so govorili o stvarjenju.
Let's see how Genesis relates to that. If we look at the first verse of Genesis, Genesis 1 verse 1.
Poglejmo si, kaj o tem pravi prva Mojzesova knjiga. Če pogledamo prvo vrstico, beremo: v začetku je Bog ustvaril nebo in zemljo.
Now this opening verse of the Bible is very familiar to all of us.
Ta začetna vrstica Svetega pisma nam je dobro znana.
We don't really need to open our Bibles to know what it's going to say.
Ne rabimo niti odpreti svojih svetih pisem, da bi vedeli, kaj bo tam pisalo na začetku.
But precisely because it is so familiar,
Ampak ravno zaradi tega, ker je tako znano to besedilo,
we should take some time just to consider how profound this opening sentence of the
si bi
Bible is.
morali vzeti nekaj časa, da bi dojeli, kako globok je ta prvi stavek.
Because this opening verse of the Bible,
Ker ta začetni stavek Svetega pisma
it takes us to the limits of time
nas odpelje na rob časa
and also the limits of space.
in rob prostora.
The limits of time
Rob časa
in the beginning.
v začetku,
Well, you can't get back before the beginning, can you?
kjer ne morete iti še dlje nazaj pred začetek.
Because if you could, it wouldn't be the beginning.
Ker če bi lahko šli še dlje nazaj, potem začetek ne bi bil začetek.
So it's the limits of time.
Torej, gre za mejo, za rob časa.
And God made the heavens and the earth.
Bog je ustvaril nebo in zemljo.
This is a Hebrew way of speaking.
To je hebrejski način govorjenja.
The heavens are the highest point above,
Torej, nebo najvišje točke zgore
and the earth is the lowest point below.
in zemlja najnižja točka spodaj.
The highest point and the lowest point,
Najvišja in najnižja točka
and everything in between.
in vse, kar je vmes.
The totality of space.
Celovitost prostora, vesolja.
So, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth,
V začetku je Bog ustvaril nebo in zemljo,
the limits of time, the limits of space.
meje časa in meje prostora.
In other words, God is the Lord of time and space.
Z drugimi besedami, Bog je gospodar časa in prostora.
Now, of course, you might say,
Seveda, morda boste rekli,
I knew that already.
to sem že vedel.
Don't have to bring you over from England to tell me
Ne bi vas
that.
zato rabili pripeljati iz Anglije, da nam to povete.
But you see, we're asking, how would it have sounded to an original reader or hearer of this
Ampak
text?
zdaj se sprašujemo, kako je to razumel prvi, prvobitni bralec Svetega pisma.
And here, in this first verse of Genesis,
In tukaj, v tej prvi vrstici, prve Mojzesove,
it clashes with the generally held views of the time.
to besedilo trči ob splošno sprejete poglede tistega časa.
Because this opening verse of Genesis suggests the eternity of God.
Ker ta začetno besedilo nakazuje Božjo večnost.
But for most of the cultures in the ancient world, the gods were not eternal.
V večini kultur starega časa bogovi niso bili večni.
For example, if we go to the Babylonian creation story,
Če bi šli v babilonsko zgodbo o stvarjenju,
and this is part of the introduction to the Babylonian creation account.
in to je del uvoda v poročilo, babilonsko poročilo o stvarjenju. Ko nebesa zgoraj še niso bila imenovana, niti zemlja spodaj ni bila klicana po imenu, je Apsu prvi, njihov začetnik in stvarnik Tiamatje, ki je vse rodila, pomešal njihove vode, a ni oblikoval pašnikov, niti odkril trstičja. Ko se bogovi še niso razkrili, niti imena bila imenovana in usode določene, takrat so se bogovi rodili v njih.
Now, the most significant point of that are those last three lines that are highlighted.
Najpomembnejši del so te zadnje tri vrstice.
When yet no gods were manifest.
Ko se bogovi še niso razkrili,
The gods weren't around yet.
bogov še ni bilo.
And then the final line.
In potem zadnja vrstica.
Then gods were born within them.
Takrat so se bogovi rodili v njih.
This Babylonian creation account,
To babilonsko poročilo o stvarjenju,
like most other ancient creation accounts,
kot mnogo drugih starih poročil,
is not just about the creation of the world.
ne govori le o stvarjenju sveta,
It's also about the creation of the gods.
ampak tudi o stvarjenju bogov.
But Genesis begins,
Ampak prva Mojzesova se začne,
in the beginning, God.
v začetku je Bog.
God created.
Bog ustvaril.
This is from Babylonia, but let's have a look at a couple of texts from Egypt.
To je iz Babilonije, poglejmo si še nekaj egipčanskih besedil. Slava tebi, Atum, slava tebi, Keprer, ki si se ustvaril. Postal si velik v tem svojem imenu, velika zemlja. Ustvaril si sebe v tem svojem imenu, Keprer.
And so here we have an Egyptian text talking about the God creating himself, the God coming into existence.
Egipčansko besedilo, ki govori o Bogu, ki sebe ustvarja, ki nastane.
And then one final one.
In še eno, zadnje besedilo, glej, jaz sem bogat, svoje telo sem si ustvaril v svoji slavi, jaz sem se ustvaril po svoji volji, in po svojem srcu.
And so these kinds of texts, these kinds of creation texts from Babylon and from Egypt,
Te vrste besedil iz Babilona, iz Egipta,
they do not assume the eternity of the gods.
ne predvidevajo Božje večnosti.
The gods come into existence.
Bogovi nastanejo.
But in Genesis, there is no speculation about the origin of God.
V prvi Mojzesovi pa ni nobenih ugibanj o Božjem poreklu.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
V začetku je Bog ustvaril nebo in zemljo.
Now, there's something else about this verse which is so obvious that you may wonder why I'm going to mention it, but I will.
Še nekaj je v tej vrstici, kar je tako očitno, da se boste morda vprašali, zakaj to omenjam, ampak vseeno bom omenil.
This opening verse of Genesis assumes something.
To začetno besedilo prve Mojzesove knjige nekaj predpostavlja, domneva.
It assumes that God is separate from creation.
In to je, da je Bog ločen od tega, kar ustvarja.
God is outside of creation.
Bog je zunaj stvarstva.
And again you said, well, I know that.
In mogoče boste spet rekli, ampak vse to sem vedel.
But this is another striking contrast with the views of the time when Genesis was written.
Ampak to je še ena osupljiva razlika glede na vsa ostala mnenja o stvarjenju, ki so bila v obtoku takrat, ko je prva Mojzesova bila napisana.
Because generally speaking, it was believed that the gods were part of and were just through the whole of creation.
Ker običajno so ljudje verjeli, da so bogovi del stvarstva in da delujejo skozi njega.
I mean, for example, out of the window of the church here,
Naprimer, če vzamemo to okno cerkve tukaj,
I can see a tree.
skozi njega lahko vidim drevo.
Now, in the ancient world,
V starem svetu
the distinction between the tree and the god of the tree,
bi razlika med drevesom in Bogom tega drevesa,
well, they were all pretty well mixed up, really.
bila zabrisana, vse to bi bilo pomešano med sabo.
So this is the basis for the belief called pantheism.
In takšno prepričanje je temelj za verovanje, ki mu pravimo panteizem.
If you remember your Adventist church history,
Če se spominjate zgodovine adventistične cerkve,
you remember Dr. Kellogg
potem boste verjetno poznali ime doktorja Kelloga,
became a pantheist.
ki je postal panteist.
But there's a problem with pantheism,
Ampak panteizem ima težavo,
especially if you're an Adventist.
še posebej, če ste adventist.
Because if you believe in pantheism,
Ker če verjamete v panteizem,
then the second coming doesn't really make a lot of sense.
potem drugi Jezusov prihod ni ravno smiseln, a ne?
Because he's already here.
Ker Jezus je že tu,
He's in that tree
v tistem drevesu
and in that plant.
in tej rastlini.
God is through everything.
Bog je vsem.
So this is a distinctly different way of looking at the world. It may be obvious to us,
To je
yes,
povsem drugačen pogled na svet, ki je nam morda očiten,
but not to the people who first heard it.
ampak ne ljudem, ki so najprej to brali.
And so, simply on this first verse of Genesis,
In preprosto v tej prvi vrstici prve Mojzesove knjige
something is clear, which is going to become even clearer as we move our way through the chapter.
je jasno nekaj, kar bo postalo še bolj jasno, ko bomo napredovali skozi poglavje.
Genesis chapter 1
Prva Mojzesova 1
is arguing against the generally held views of its time.
govori proti splošno sprejetim pogledom svojega časa.
It is not reflecting ancient views.
Ne
of
odseva,
creation.
ne odraža teh mnenj, ki so bila takrat,
It is contradicting them.
ampak jim nasprotuje.
Now, let's have a look at another aspect.
Poglejmo si še en vidik.
We move on to verse 3.
Če gremo v tretjo vrstico prvega poglavja,
Which, again, very familiar. God said, let there be light, and there was light.
zelo znana, Bog je rekel, bodi svetloba in nastala je svetloba.
Now, when Jewish rabbis were teaching their students,
Ko so judovski rabini učili svoje študente,
then this was one of the standard questions they would ask their first year students.
Je to bilo eno od standardnih vprašanj, ki so jih zastavili svojim brucom.
The rabbi would say to his eager students sitting there,
Rabin je svojim vnetim študentom, ki so sedeli, rekel:
so the Bible says, and God said, let there be light.
Sveto pismo pravi in Bog je rekel, naj bo svetloba.
Now, to whom was God speaking?
Zdaj, komu je Bog govoril?
Write me a 2,000-word essay on that.
Napišite mi esej z 2000 besedami o tem.
To whom was God speaking?
Komu je Bog govoril?
And the eager little rabbinic students would go home scratching their heads.
In mali rabinski študenti so šli domov, se praskali po glavi.
Now, of course, it's a trick question.
Vprašanje je zapleteno.
Because when this text says God said, let there be light, and there was light,
Ker ko to besedilo pravi in Bog je rekel, bodi svetloba in bila je svetloba,
it is the Bible's way of saying that God has control over matter.
je to svetopisemski način, da se pove, da Bog ima nadzor nad materijo.
He only has to wish it and it happens.
On si mora to samo zaželeti in se zgodi.
Which brings us to an exceptionally important point.
Kar nas pripelje do zelo pomembne točke.
God's creation is effortless.
Božje stvarjenje in ustvarjanje brez napora.
And if there is one point on which the book of Genesis differs from the world in which it was created, it is this point.
Če je prva Mojzesova po čem drugačna od drugih poročil o stvarjenju, potem je v tej točki.
Creation is effortless.
Stvarjenje, stvaritev je nekaj lahkotnega.
God commands and it happens.
Bog ukaže in se zgodi.
Let's just remind ourselves.
Spomnimo se.
We've just seen in verse 3, God says, let there be light.
V vrsti 3 smo videli, Bog je rekel, bodi svetloba in bila je svetloba.
And then in verse 9, let the waters be gathered together, and it was so.
In v 9. vode naj se zberejo skupaj in bilo je tako.
In verse 11, God says, let the earth bring forth grass, and it was so.
V 11. vrsti pravi, naj zemlja rodi travo in bilo je tako.
He speaks and it happens immediately.
Bog govori in takoj se zgodi.
No struggle, no effort.
Nobenega truda, nobenega napora.
Now, an ancient person reading that
Starodavni človek, ki bi bral te besede,
is likely to have said,
bi si verjetno ob tem rekel,
you cannot be serious.
se ne morete biti resni.
Creation is effortless.
Stvarjenje pa lahkotno, brez
Every
napora.
man and his dog knows that creation isn't effortless.
Vsak človek in njegov pes vesta, da stvarjenje ni brez napora.
So, let me illustrate that.
Naj to ilustriram.
The idea that creation was the result of a struggle and a battle was common throughout the ancient world.
Zamisel, da je stvarjenje rezultat boja, bitke, je bilo zelo razširjeno v starem svetu.
So let's go back to the Babylonian creation story.
Gremo v babilonsko zgodbo o stvaritvi.
Just before we read this, let me explain something.
Preden preberemo, naj nekaj pojasnim.
There are two characters here. We have Marduk and Tiamat.
Dva lika imamo, Marduka in Tiamata.
And Marduk is the high god of Babylon.
Marduk je glavni bog Babilona.
It's his temple which is the focus of the city of Babylon.
Njegov tempelj je v središču mesta Babilon.
And then Tiamat, she is a fearsome monster.
Ona pa je grozljiva zver.
And these two are together in the act of creation.
In v dejanju stvarjenja sta skupaj.
Okay, let's just read this then.
Preberimo. Marduk je izstrelil puščico, ki je prebodla Tiamatin trebuh, jo razpolovil in razrezal njeno srce, jo porazil in ugasnil njeno življenje. Njeno truplo je vrgel na tla in stal na njej.
And so here's the Babylonian account.
Tu imamo babilonsko poročilo stvarjenja.
Where creation takes place as the result of a tremendous battle between these two.
Ko se stvarjenje zgodi kot posledica izjemnega boja med tema dvema.
And what happens next?
In kaj se zgodi potem?
Marduk stands on top of Tiamat.
Marduk stoji na vrhu Tiamate.
He splits her body in half.
Njeno telo razreže na pol.
and with one half of her body he creates the heavens,
in z eno polovico njenega telesa ustvari nebesa
and the other half of her body he creates the earth.
in z drugo polovico zemljo.
That's how the earth is created.
Tako je bila zemlja ustvarjena.
Through struggle and battle.
Skozi boj, bitko.
And God said,
In Bog je rekel,
let there be light.
naj bo svetloba.
And there was light.
In bila je svetloba.
Just like that.
Kar tako.
And that, of course, is one of the consequences
In ena od posledic
of there being only one God.
je ta, da je Bog samo eden.
Because if there's only one God,
Ker če je Bog samo en,
there are no other gods you can fight with.
ni drugih bogov, s katerimi bi se boril.
That's why God said, let there be light.
Zato je Bog rekel, naj bo svetloba.
And there was light.
In bila je svetloba.
And you get this idea of battle also in some Egyptian texts
Tudi v
too.
nekaterih egiptovskih besedilih boste našli to idejo bitke.
And of all the ways in which Genesis contradicts the thinking of its time,
In od vseh načinov, na katere prva Mojzesova nasprotuje razmišljanju svojega časa,
this is probably the most striking.
je to verjetno najbolj osupljiv način,
But of course, it's not the only one.
ampak ni edini.
So let's move on. We'll move on to the fourth day of creation, which begins in verse 14.
Gremo naprej zdaj na četrti dan stvarjenja, ki se začne v 14. vrstici.
Now, the only reason I'm missing out some things is not because they're too difficult and I don't want to do them. It's just that we don't have time to do everything.
Edini razlog, zakaj skačemo tako naprej, ni v tem, da so ta besedila pretežka in da se ne želim z njimi ukvarjati, ampak nimamo časa, da bi šli v vsa.
Now, when we come to the fourth day of creation,
Ko pridemo do četrtega dne stvarjenja,
the fourth day is the longest account so far when you look at the number of Hebrew words. The fourth day is the longest in the account so far.
je četrti dan najdaljše poročilo od vseh do te točke, do tega trenutka.
And the reason why it is longer than what's gone before
In razlog, zakaj je daljši od vseh ostalih, ki so bili prej,
is that in describing the heavenly bodies,
da je v tem, da ko opisuje nebesna telesa,
Genesis wants to underline time and again what the functions of these heavenly bodies are.
prva Mojzesova želi vedno znova poudariti, kaj je dejavnost teh nebesnih teles.
So let's have a look at this passage, verses 14 to 18.
Poglejmo si to besedilo, vrstice od 14 do 18. Bog je rekel, naj bodo luči na nebesnem oboku, ločujejo na dan od noči, naj bodo znamenja za čase, dneve in leta, naj svetijo na nebesnem oboku in razsvetljujejo zemljo. Zgodilo se je tako. Bog je naredil dve veliki luči, večjo luč, ki naj gospoduje dnevu, in manjšo luč, ki naj gospoduje noči, ter zvezde. Bog jih je postavil na nebesni obok, da bi razsvetljevale zemljo. Gospodovale naj bi dnevo in noč in ločevale svetlobo od teme. Bog je videl, da je dobro. In bil je večer in bilo jutro, četrti dan.
Now you see how it wants to stress what these lights are for. What are they created to do?
Ali vidite poudarek tukaj v tem besedilu, zakaj so te luči bile ustvarjene?
And if you look through them, you see they're there to separate and to be lights.
Videli ste, da piše, da so tam zato, da ločujejo, da so svetloba, luč,
They are there to give light,
da dajo luč,
to rule the day and rule the night.
razsvetljujejo, da gospodujejo dnevu, gospodujejo noči,
They are there to give light on the earth
razsvetljujejo zemljo
and again to rule and to separate.
in spet, da vladajo, gospodujejo in ločujejo.
Genesis has got something very specific to say about these heavenly bodies.
Prva Mojzesova ima nekaj zelo konkretnega zapovedati o teh nebesnih telesih.
And what it has to say is, once again, I know to us, blindingly obvious.
In to, kar nam ima zapovedati, vem, da je nam popolnoma jasno.
And that is that these are lights.
In to je, da so to luči.
Look up in the night sky and
Poglejte
what do
gor,
you see?
temno nebo in kaj boste videli?
You see lights.
Luči.
But ancient people reading this would have said,
Ampak starodavni ljudje, ki bi to brali,
Lights?
Bi rekli, luči?
You cannot be serious.
Saj ne misliš resno?
Those aren't lights.
To niso luči,
They are gods.
to so bogovi.
But Genesis is quite clear.
Ampak prva Mojzesova je jasna.
They are not gods.
Niso bogovi.
Let me show you a text from Mesopotamia, one of many that we could look at.
Pokazal vam bom mesopotamsko besedilo, eno od mnogih, ki bi si jih lahko pogledali.
Now, just before we read it, let me explain.
Preden preberemo, naj malo pojasnim.
The belief that the sun, the moon and the stars are gods
Prepričanje, da so mesec, zvezde in sonce bogovi,
means that those lights are affecting what goes on earth.
pomeni, da te luči vplivajo na to, kar se dogaja na zemlji.
So the position of the sun, the moon and the stars when you were born,
Torej, položaj teh zvezd, sonca in meseca, ko ste se rodili,
they determine what your life is going to be.
določa, kakšno bo vaše življenje.
Why?
Zakaj?
Because they are lights.
Ker to so
They are gods.
bogovi.
Yeah, because they are gods.
Ker so bogovi.
So let's just read this Mesopotamian text.
Preverimo to mesopotamsko besedilo. Mrk večerne straže pomeni kugo, mrk srednje straže pomeni zmanjšanje trga, mrk jutranje straže pomeni, da bodo bolni ozdraveli. Ko sin, to je mesec, doživi mrk, moraš prav tako misliti o mesecu, dnevu, straži, vetru, poti in položaju zvezd, kjer so bile v času mrka, in potem se lahko odločiš v skladnosti z njegovim mesecem, dnevom, stražom, vetrom, potjo in zvezdo.
So the stars, the sun and moon determine what happens on earth.
Torej, zvezde, sonce in mesec določajo, kaj se dogaja na zemlji.
And I'm afraid you've got no choice.
In bojim se, da nimate tu ravno dosti izbire.
If the stars are in a certain position
Če so zvezde bile v določenem položaju,
when you were born,
ko ste se vi rodili,
then this is going to happen.
potem se bo to zgodilo.
Too bad for you,
Škoda za vas,
but that's the way it works.
ampak tako to deluje.
It's a belief in fate.
To je vera v usodo.
And in fact, I'm looking, you'll be glad to know that I'm looking at a clock.
Veseli boste, če vam povem, da gledam na uro.
And that clock has a number at the top,
In ta ura ima številko na vrhu,
12.
12.
I've been told I must finish before I get to 12.
Rečeno mi je bilo, da moram končati, preden pridem do 12.
But the reason I mention it is this.
Ampak razlog, zakaj to omenjam,
Why are there 12 hours in a day?
zakaj je 12
Or rather,
ur,
why are there 24 hours in a day?
oziroma 24 ur v dnevu,
Because there are two sets of 12.
ker imamo dva niza po 12.
And why do we have two sets of
In
12?
zakaj imamo dva niza po 12?
Because there are 12 signs of the zodiac.
Ker imamo 12 znamenj zodijaka.
The clock that you have on your wall
Ura, ki jo imate na svoji steni,
in this Christian church
v tej krščanski cerkvi,
pays testimony to how ancient the view is of astrology and the stars governing our day and governing our night.
priča o tem, kakšen je bil starodavni pogled na to, da zvezde in mesec in sonce določajo naš čas in naše dneve.
60 minutes
60 minut,
in an hour,
uri,
24 hours in a day.
24 ur v dnevu.
The day was all divided up according to the belief that the sun, the moon and the stars determined what your life was going to be.
Dan je bil razdeljen tako v skladu s prepričanjem, da zvezde, sonce in mesec določajo, kakšno bo vaše življenje.
And Genesis says,
Prva Mojzesova pa pravi,
no,
ne,
they're lights.
to so luči,
That's all.
to je vse.
They are lights as the servant of God. So if my life isn't determined by the sun, the moon and the stars, then
To so luči in če moje življenje ne določa sonce, mesec in zvezde,
what does that mean about my life?
kaj to pomeni za moje življenje?
It means my life is in the hands of this creator God,
Je, da je moje življenje v Božjih rokah,
who in the beginning created the sun, the moon and the
v
stars,
rokah Boga, ki je v začetku ustvaril sonce, mesec in zvezde.
which means that my life and your life are not victims of fate.
Kar pomeni, da moje življenje in vaše življenje niso žrtev usode.
So that's why Genesis rejects any kind of sun worship and moon worship.
Zato prva Mojzesova knjiga zavrača vse oblike čaščenja sonca in meseca.
And on this particular point, I'd like us to go back to that first diagram of Genesis 1.
In zdaj se bomo znova vrnili na tisti prvi diagram iz prve Mojzesove knjige.
And if we go back to that diagram,
Če gremo nazaj na ta diagram
and we just make just a slight difference, just to underline something,
in naredimo tukaj majhno eno razliko, tako da nekaj poudarimo,
you'll see that on the first day we had the creation of light,
boste videli, da smo prvi dan imeli ustvarjeno svetlobo,
and on the fourth day we get the lights.
četrti dan pa luči.
Now, sometimes when I teach Genesis,
Ko predavam iz prve Mojzesove knjige,
somebody's hand always goes up.
se vedno dvigne nekakšna roka.
How can you have light before the lights?
Kako je možno imeti svetlobo, preden imate luči?
The author obviously made a mistake.
Očitno se je pisec zmotil.
He wasn't concentrating when God was talking to him.
Očitno ni bil zbran, ko mu je Bog govoril.
But do you see how the structure of Genesis 1 wants to underline something?
Ampak ali vidite, kako struktura prve Mojzesove želi nekaj povedati?
That light comes before the lights
Svetloba je pred lučmi,
because it is God who is the source of light.
ker je Bog vir svetlobe.
The heavenly bodies are simply, they take over from God.
Nebesna telesa preprosto prevzamejo od Boga nalogo.
And in order to underline that,
In da bi to bilo poudarjeno,
the word for light
je beseda za svetlobo
is mentioned 5 times on the first day.
omenjena 5-krat v poročilu o prvem dnevu.
And the lights are mentioned 5 times on the fourth day.
In luči so omenjene 5-krat v četrtem dnevu.
As if to say, can you see a connection there, dear reader?
Kot da bi nekdo hotel reči, dragi bralec, ali vidiš povezavo?
I'm trying to make this as obvious as possible.
To poskušam narediti, kar se da jasno.
That light came as the response of God saying, let there be light.
Da je svetloba posledica Božjih besed, bodi svetloba.
The lights are simply God's servants who take over
In
later on.
so luči zgolj Božji služabniki, ki nadaljujejo to isto delo.
And there's something else also about this fourth day.
In še nekaj je v tem četrtem dnevu.
Which is this.
In to je naslednje.
In talking about the fourth day,
Ko je beseda o četrtem dnevu,
I've been talking about the sun and the moon.
Govoril sem o soncu in mesecu,
Because obviously the sun and the moon is what's intended as part of the fourth day.
ker očitno sta sonce in mesec mišljena kot del četrtega dne.
But the text of Genesis doesn't say sun and moon.
Ampak besedilo v prvi Mojzesovi ne pravi sonce in mesec.
It talks about the greater light
Govori
and the lesser
o
light.
večji in o manjši luči.
Well, why not simply say the sun and the moon?
Zakaj preprosto ne piše sonce in mesec?
Why talk about the greater light and the lesser light?
Zakaj govoriti o večji luči in manjši luči?
Well, of course, I don't know for certain.
Ne vem zagotovo.
But the likely reason, I think, is this.
Ampak zelo verjeten razlog mislim, da je ta.
That the Hebrew word for sun
Hebrejska beseda za sonce
is also the name of the sun god.
je tudi ime za Boga sonca.
And the word for moon
In beseda za mesec
is also the name of the moon goddess.
je ime boginje meseca.
So Genesis is almost here wanting to sort of poke people in the eye.
Kot da hoče prva Mojzesova zbosti ljudi direktno v oči.
I'm not even going to use the word sun in case you run away with the idea that I'm talking about the sun god.
Ne bom niti uporabil besede sonce, zato da ne bi dobili zamisel o tem, da govorimo o Bogu sonca.
Not even going to use the word moon in case you think I'm talking about the moon goddess.
Niti besedo mesec, da bi dobili idejo, da govorimo o boginji meseca.
But greater light and lesser light,
Ampak večja luč, manjša luč,
because that's all they are.
ker to je vse, kar so.
You notice when it talks about the stars,
Ko
it's
govori o
almost an
zvezdah,
afterthought.
je to kot neka misel, ki pride na koncu, povsem.
Made the greater light,
Velika luč,
the lesser light.
manjša luč,
Oh, yeah, and the stars.
res, še zvezde.
Almost as an afterthought.
Torej, kot nekaj, kar prihaja na koncu.
But once again, I think we can understand why when we consider the world in which Genesis was written.
Ampak mislim, da še enkrat lahko razumemo, zakaj, ko razmišljamo o svetu, ko je prva Mojzesova bila napisana.
For the ancients,
Za starodavne ljudi
the stars were the most important of all.
so zvezde bile najpomembnejše.
It was the stars in particular that determined your fate.
Zvezde so tiste, ki določajo vašo usodo.
So the stars of first importance,
Torej, zvezde so najpomembnejše,
and then the sun,
potem sonce,
and then the moon.
potem mesec.
And Genesis wants to make a point.
In prvo Mojzesova želi nekaj poudariti.
It pushes to one side what the people of its time thinks as the most important elements of all.
Odrine na stran tisto, kar ljudje mislijo, da je najpomembnejši element od vseh.
And the stars.
In zvezde.
He made them too,
Tudi njih je ustvaril.
but they're not gods.
Ampak to niso bogovi.
I won't be able to, it's going to take me longer to talk about God's creation than it did him to do it himself.
Jaz bi očitno porabil več za to, da govorimo o Božjem stvarjenju, kot je Bog porabil za to, da ustvari nekaj.
But what we do, we've got to the end of the fourth day.
Ampak prišli smo zdaj do konca četrtega dne.
So what I think we'll do is we'll hold it there because there's some other important things we need to look at before we finish Creation Week.
In to, kar bomo naredili, tu se bomo ustavili, ker sledi še nekaj pomembnih stvari, ki bi si jih morali ogledati, preden se konča teden stvarjenja.
And so what I think we'll do after lunch is we'll finish off this first chapter and then we'll have time to take some questions as well. Probably.
In po kosilu bomo končali to prvo poglavje in potem imeli nekaj časa za vprašanje.
Okay, thank you.
Hvala lepa.